In this video, I'm going to show you something that many Linux Mint users avoid doing, but which is essential for your system's stability and security: updating the BIOS. Many people believe that if you're not running Windows, you can't update your BIOS. Well, I'm here to prove that's not true. There is a simple, elegant, and safe method you can use whether you have a laptop or a desktop PC. Stay with me until the end, because I'll explain the entire process from scratch, including all the details you need to know. Before we get into the technical details, let's first understand why it's important to keep your BIOS up to date. The BIOS, or UEFI as it's called on modern systems, is the very first software that runs when you power on your computer. It initializes the hardware, checks the system components, and then hands control over to the operating system. Manufacturers regularly release BIOS updates that fix bugs, add support for newer processors, improve hardware compatibility, and enhance overall system stability. Ignoring these updates means potentially living with problems that could otherwise be resolved quickly and easily. The first thing you need to do is identify the exact model of your computer and the BIOS version currently installed. All commands used in this video are available in the video description. Open a terminal and type sudo dmidecode -t1. This command displays information about your system. Pay attention to two important pieces of information in this output: product name, in my case Nitro N5110, and the serial number. Both of these will be useful in the next step. Now, to check which BIOS version is currently installed, run sudo dmidecode -s BIOS -version. On my system, this command returns R01A2, which is the BIOS version I upgraded to. The previous version was R01A1. If you don't have a branded computer, such as an Acer, Asus, HP, or Lenovo system, but instead a custom-built PC assembled from individual components, the process is slightly different. Instead of searching for BIOS updates using the computer model, you'll need to identify your motherboard model. To do that, run sudo dmidecode -t2. This command will display information about your motherboard, including the manufacturer, model, and version. For example, if you have a Gigabyte Z 370 motherboard, simply search Google for Gigabyte Z 370 driver. Visit the official Gigabyte website and download the latest BIOS version available for your board. The principle is the same regardless of the manufacturer. Whether you have a Gigabyte, MSI, ASRock, or Asus motherboard, each company provides a support page where you can download BIOS updates based on the exact model of your motherboard. Now that I know exactly which computer I have, it's time to download the BIOS update. There are two methods I can use to identify the correct driver on Acer's website. Method 1, by serial number. I go to Acer's official support website, choose the option to search by serial number, and enter the serial number obtained using the dmidecode command. The website will automatically display all drivers and updates available for my exact computer. Method 2, by product name. In my case, Nitro N5110. This method is useful if I don't have the serial number at hand, or if I prefer browsing through the product catalog. Once I reach my product page, I scroll down until I find the BIOS firmware section. There I can see all available versions, along with a short description of what each version fixes. In my case, the latest available version was R01A2, and the description mentions that it fixes an issue with incorrect RAM size display. I download the BIOS file. It usually comes as a zip archive. After the download is complete, the next step is simple. Extract the downloaded file and copy its contents onto a USB drive. Make sure the USB stick containing the BIOS driver is properly formatted. FAT32 is recommended for maximum compatibility, and that the files are copied directly, not left inside a zip archive. And now we reach the question that frustrates many Linux Mint users. How do you actually install a BIOS update if you don't have Windows? There are three main methods. Method 1, using Wine. You can try running the BIOS executable through Wine, the Windows compatibility layer for Linux. However, this is the method I do not recommend, and for serious reasons. Wine does not guarantee full compatibility, and if the BIOS executable crashes halfway through the process, you risk leaving your BIOS in a corrupted state. A corrupted BIOS means a computer that will not boot at all. It's simply not worth the risk. Method 2, temporarily installing Windows. Another option is to install Windows on a separate drive or partition, perform the BIOS update from within Windows, and then delete Windows afterward. It works, but it is extremely time-consuming and inconvenient. Method 3. Using Hiren's Boot CD PE. This is the method I strongly recommend and will demonstrate next. Hiren's Boot CD PE is essentially a minimal version of Windows that runs entirely from RAM without installation. You boot from a USB drive, perform the BIOS update, restart the computer, and you're done. Go to Google and search for Hiren's Boot CD PE. From there, download the latest available version. The ISO file is a little over 3 GB, so make sure you have a stable internet connection and some time available. Once the ISO is downloaded, you need a program to create a bootable USB drive. I recommend Balena Etcher, a simple and reliable tool available for free on Linux. Go to the official website and download the Etcher for Linux x64 version. The downloaded file is an archive. Go to the folder where it was downloaded and extract it. Inside the extracted folder, you will find the executable file called Balena Etcher. Right-click it, choose Properties, then go to the Permissions tab and enable Allow Executing File as Program. From now on, you can open the application with a double click. Once Balena Etcher is open, the process is extremely simple. Click Flash from File and select the ISO file you downloaded. In the next step, select the USB stick where you want to create the bootable media. This must be a different USB stick than the one where you stored the BIOS driver. All data on the selected USB drive will be erased. Click Flash and wait. The process takes a few minutes, depending on the speed of your USB drive. When Etcher finishes and shows the confirmation message, your bootable USB drive is ready. Now that you have both USB sticks ready, one with Hiren's Boot CD PE and one with the BIOS update file, it's time to enter your computer's BIOS and set it to boot from USB. Restart your computer and, immediately as it powers on, press the key that opens the boot menu. Each manufacturer uses a different key. On Acer systems, it's usually Delete or F2 for BIOS and F12 for the boot menu. Other brands may use F1, F8, F10, or Escape. If you don't know the correct key, you can quickly search Google using your computer model. From the BIOS or boot menu, select the USB stick containing Hiren's Boot CD PE as the boot device and wait for the environment to load. Hiren's Boot CD PE boots into a graphical Windows environment that is fully functional. It looks like a normal Windows system, but it runs 100% from memory without being installed on the computer. Before doing anything else, plug in your second USB stick, the one containing the copied BIOS update files. Open this PC from the desktop. There you will see all available storage devices, including your USB drive with the BIOS files. Open it, locate the BIOS driver folder, and copy it to the desktop. This makes it easier to access and reduces the risk of losing the file path during the process. Open the copied folder and look for the executable file with the point.exe extension. In my case, the executable was located inside a subfolder called UCP. Double-click the executable and wait for it to load. You will see a message such as Reading Flash. The program is reading the current BIOS version. This process may take several tens of seconds. Do not touch anything, do not move the mouse, and do not press any keys. Once it finishes reading, it will ask if you are ready to shut down the system and apply the update. Type Y and press Enter. Now comes the critical moment. The computer will reboot and begin the actual BIOS flashing process. You will see a progress bar on the screen. Do not turn off the computer, do not remove the USB stick, and do not interrupt anything until the process is fully complete. Interrupting a BIOS update can make your computer unusable. Be patient, this usually takes between 2 and 5 minutes. When the flashing process is finished, the computer will automatically restart. If you've made it this far without errors, the BIOS update was successful. One important thing to keep in mind: after a BIOS update, some settings may be reset to their default values. In my case, after the update, the BIOS disabled the NVIDIA graphics driver, or more precisely, it stopped correctly recognizing the driver. The issue was related to Secure Boot, a security feature that checks whether the software loaded during startup is digitally signed. My recommendation is that immediately after updating the BIOS, you enter the BIOS again and check the secure boot setting. If you experience driver issues, especially with proprietary drivers such as NVIDIA, disable secure boot. You can also verify that the update was successful by running the same command in the terminal after rebooting into Linux Mint. Sudo dmidecode -s BIOS -version. If the version displayed matches the one you downloaded and installed, everything went perfectly. And here we are at the end. We've gone through how you can update the BIOS on a Linux Mint system without needing Windows installed. At first glance, it may seem like an intimidating process, but if you follow the steps carefully, it is completely safe and accessible to anyone. In my opinion, the Hiren's bootcd PE method is the simplest and safest option available for Linux users. Thank you to all the channel members. Your support means a lot to me and helps keep the channel going. If you found this video helpful, leave a like and subscribe to the channel for more Linux Mint content. If you have any questions or ran into any issues during any of the steps, feel free to leave a comment below. See you in the next video.